I'm Christina Aguayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. The CEO of a publicity firm that specializes in organizing protesters for large events is saying that he turned down a $20 million contract to organize people for the upcoming nationwide protest against President Donald Trump. Adam Swart, the head of Crowds on Demand, talked about his decision, saying the protests would probably be violent and won't even be effective. He said that the interests aligned with the organizers of the July 17th movement have approached him, and in fact, he rejected that offer that was probably worth about that $20 million. But he personally didn't think it was affected. So he said he's not trying to call himself virtuous for rejecting it, but what he's saying is he rejected it because he didn't want to take the business because it's not going to be effective. It's going to make them look bad. And he said there's a possibility of violence. When pressed about who made him the offer, Swart said he wouldn't name them, adding it would be bad for business to reveal client details. The protest, dubbed Good Trouble Lives On, are set for Thursday and are being held to honor the legacy of late civil rights activist and Congressman John Lewis, who was a harsh critic of President Trump. In fact, Lewis boycotted the president's first inauguration. Organizers anticipate tens of thousands of protesters will join the events across the country, but it's unclear how many of those protesters will be paid. Engineers in China have access to sensitive Department of Defense systems, including classified military information. It's something that started in 2016 by Microsoft in order to take advantage of cheaper labor. Microsoft has been using engineers in China to help maintain a portion of the DoD's most sensitive computer systems for nearly a decade, according to a recent investigation. This setup involves a little-known program called digital escorts, where American citizens allegedly supervise foreign workers from the United States as the engineers in China access the Pentagon's cloud networks. Escorts are often entry-level staff with limited tech expertise and get paid minimum wage. They use monitoring tools like those from Microsoft Teams. They can't always see everything the foreign engineer does, and sessions can last hours with minimal intervention. Escorts say they sometimes feel pressured to approve actions quickly without deep checks. Experts worry that escorts aren't qualified to spot subtle hacks or data exfiltration. However, Microsoft says this complies with rules since escorts control the access. The DoD bans non-citizens from directly handling top-secret data to prevent spying or leaks. However, Microsoft found a workaround by creating the digital escort system. That way, Chinese engineers could access sensitive national security systems like Azure Government, which hosts classified military info and fixes issues at a cheap rate for the company. Here's a fast fact for you. General Mark Milley told China that he would warn them if the U.S. planned to attack them in secret phone calls that were made behind President Donald Trump's back. The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff made two secret calls to his Chinese counterpart, General Li Zuocheng, during the final months of Donald Trump's presidency in 2020 and 2021. In the first call on October 30th, 2020, Milley said, "General Li, I want to assure you that the American government is stable and everything is going to be okay. We are not going to attack or conduct any kinetic operations against you. If we are going to attack, I'm going to call you ahead of time. It's not going to be a surprise." The second call happened on January 8th, 2021, where Milley reiterated assurances of stability and no surprise attacks. Milley defended these communications during congressional testimony on September 28th of 2021, describing them as routine military-to-military contracts coordinated with the State Department and not quote-unquote secret in the sense of bypassing the chain of command. However, they were not directly authorized by Trump. Critics, including Trump, accused Milley of treason for potentially undermining presidential authority. Many are now pointing to the preemptive pardon issued to Milley in Biden's final days in office. The pardon was not personally signed by Biden. Instead, White House staff used an Autopen on the official warrants. Biden's chief of staff, Jeff Zients, approved the Autopen's use via an email on January 19th, writing, quote, "I approve the use of the Autopen for the execution of all the following pardons. This has prompted investigations by the DOJ and the House Oversight Committee looking into whether the pardons are valid." Joe Biden has hired a high-profile criminal defense attorney as investigations ramp up into the use of the Autopen and Clemency decisions. Biden has hired Amy Jeffress, a prominent attorney specializing in criminal defense and national security law, as his new personal lawyer, as controversy surrounding the former president heat up. The move comes after his longtime personal attorney, Bob Bauer, quit, reportedly over the growing Autopen scandal. Jeffress is married to D.C. District Court Judge Chris Cooper, who was appointed by Barack Obama in 2014, and is presiding over multiple lawsuits against President Donald Trump. Merrick Garland, by the way, officiated their wedding. That's what you need to know. In Dallas, Christina Aguayo.